I am going to come out and guarantee you that the Orlando Magic and Detroit Pistons will combine to score more points in Game 3 than they did in Game 2. Now, that's not saying much, considering the two teams combined for only 181 points in Game 2 Wednesday night. The real question we need to be asking ourselves today is whether or not the Magic and Pistons can combine to score at least 214 points for Saturday's Game 3 in Orlando. 213.5 is the total currently at two of the more popular sports books. So should we go over or under that number? That is what I am about to answer for you here in this free play video right on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. What's going on, everybody? Brian Power back with you to preview Game 3 of the Orlando Magic Detroit Pistons series. Game 3 will tip off 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Why should you be paying attention to what I have to say? Well, for starters, I'm on a red-hot 16-6-1 all sports run the last 7 days. It's number 2 at the site. Going back to last year, I'm on a 16-4 run with NBA playoff picks. Furthermore, since we are talking about betting totals today, I would be remiss if I did not mention that I'm 78% with NBA totals over the last 11 months, up 40.7 units of profit with all NBA bets during that time as well. I promise that we'll get into Game 3 of Pistons Magic in just a minute. But first, quick reminder, click that subscribe button. That way you'll be instantly notified whenever free play videos, easy for me to say, like this one, drop on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Now, before we can start breaking down Game 3 of Pistons Magic, let's talk about the first two games of the series, shall we? Game 1 saw Orlando surprisingly, to some, win outright by a score of 112-101. If you're a client of mine, though, you had a no-sweat winner with the Magic +9 in that one. No play for me on Game 2, which belonged to the Pistons. They bounced back and snapped just an unfathomable home playoff losing streak in the process. Incredibly, prior to Wednesday, guys, Detroit, I know a lot of you know this, but it bears saying for those who may not, Detroit had lost 11 consecutive playoff home games before Wednesday. That's a streak that went back to 2008. But the win, they did get the win in Game 2, 98-83, also covering the spread as 8.5-point favorites. So a win for the zigzag players there. As you may have guessed, 98-83, game stayed well under the total of 218.5. Both games in this series have now stayed under. What happened in Game 2, you may be asking, that caused things to stay under by such a wide margin? Well, I'm about to run through that for you. Orlando, horrible shooting in Game 2. Overall, 26 of 80 from the floor. That's 33%. Far cry from Game 1 when the Magic shot 49% from the field and all 5 starters scored at least 16 points. The Pistons never led in Game 1, but they took control of Game 2 by outscoring the Magic 38-16 in the third quarter. From there, the result was never really in doubt. Game slowed down, only 35 combined points in the fourth quarter by these two teams. Neither shot well from 3 in Game 2. Orlando was 25% from behind the arc, 8 of 32, while Detroit was actually worse at 23%, 6 of 26. Ultimately victorious, Pistons did not help themselves from the free throw line in Game 2. They missed 10 of 24 attempts. So lots of reasons that game was so low scoring. And needless to say, I believe all of those shooting numbers can only go up for Game 3 on Saturday. What I find interesting from a value perspective here is how the first two games of the series have left odds makers little choice but to drop the over-under line. Game 1 had a closing total of 221.5. Game 2 had a closing total of 218.5. And now we're down as low as 213.5 for Game 3. That's an 8-point delta from the closing number of Game 1. So I do believe there is solid value in betting the over for Game 3 on Saturday. Detroit has not had a game all season where the total closed lower than 213.5. The same holds true for Orlando. And the 83 points scored in Game 2, that was a season low for the Magic. Same starting 5 that combined for 92 points in Game 1 on 36 of 73 shooting, basically 50%. Well, that same 5 went a collective 21 of 63 from the field in Game 2 and combined for just 64 points. Back home, you'd expect that quintet to be closer to their game 1 numbers. Yes, the series does shift to Orlando for game 3, if you were not aware. As for Detroit, their 3-point shooting, again, can only get better. They shot just 27.6% from beyond the arc in the first 2 games. The only playoff team that's been worse from 3 so far is Orlando at 27.3%. So collectively, at least one of these 2 teams has got to get going from 3. The numbers have got to improve. You have to think. These are teams, both of them shot around 35% from behind the arc during the regular season. So I'm going to go over 213.5 for game 3. Free play for today. Again, I like the fact that we've got a total that's 8 points lower than the closing number for game 1. Go ahead and comment down below with your thoughts, whether they are positive or negative. We want to hear from you. Please do, though, smash that like button if you agree. Then, after you do that, head on over to WT.buzz/BP, where you can jump on board for the entire weekend for only $49. That $49 price will give you every pick that I release over Saturday and Sunday. Already mentioned, I'm on a 16-6-1 all sports run the last 7 days, not to mention a 16-4 NBA playoff run going back to last year. Well, don't forget about MLB, where I'm hitting a ridiculous 80% with totals so far this season, a 12-3-1 record. It's not just NBA totals. I mentioned earlier the 78% record over the last 11 months betting NBA totals. Well, 80% in Major League Baseball when I'm betting the over or the under. And then soccer, what else do I need to say? Number 1 at Wager Talk the last 7 days in soccer. Number 1 at Wager Talk the last 30 days in soccer. Number 1 at Wager Talk the last 2 years in soccer. I'm up a massive 60.9 units the last 2 years on the pitch. That includes a 10-2 run here in April. Again, WT.buzz/BP is the place to go for all of my winning picks. I mentioned that $49 price gets you locked in for the weekend. Don't forget about this special as well, guys. Here, if I can get it up on the screen for you. There it is. Buy 3, get 3 free. 6 days for $69. So if you want to lock in for a little bit longer, again, 16-6-1 over the last 7 days. If you want 6 days of picks, you can get this at my page as well, WT.buzz/BP. Give you, again, all sports. That is 6 days for $69. Normally, it is $69 to hop on board for 3 days. So you're getting double the access at no extra cost. And that is going to do it for me here on this free play video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If so, remember to both like and subscribe. And until next time, let's cash some tickets.